I'm here in town, so I'm going to probably sing a few songs today at part of their gathering, and campfire sing-along thing tonight. That's always fun.
You've had a few hits over the years, Gary. Does one really stand out for you?
Well, I've had a few songs that have done quite well for me. I think that "Dance with This Old Cowboy" has been one of the biggest songs I've had in the local area. With CFCW and all the radio stations in this area. And then I had a song called "Heroes," and another one called "10 Years Old and Barefoot." It's been. I've been blessed to have a few songs that make the radio.
I think I got introduced to your music back in the early 80s. "Somewhere on the Island" was one of my personal favorites.
I was going to mention that song as being probably the biggest song that I've ever had as far as longevity is concerned. It's people still recognize it, and they recognize the video too that used to play on the CMT.
Yeah, exactly.
It had the Haida war canoes in it, which was really, really very touching and everything. So I felt good about that video.
Gary, how did you get into country music?
Well, I was raised on a farm in Saskatchewan, east central Saskatchewan. We were still farming with horses and cattle and whatnot. I've always had that, love for the Western lifestyle, and the image of the cowboy, of course, which was me. I thought all I had to do was climb on a horse and play a guitar, and I'd be a singing cowboy. But in reality, being a cowboy is hard work. So I'm glad I'm not a real cowboy.
Gary Fjellgaard on the show this afternoon. Gary, how was your summer? Did you get to go out and perform at all?
Well, it hasn't been that busy, but a lot of traveling involved. Like this last little thing was I did the Bouchard Gardens in Victoria, and then I did a festival in Duncan, and then I did Golden. So all over the map. Golden, and then down to and our motorhome broke down in Penticton, and we had to pick up our little car and take our dogs home, and it's been and now I'm up in Stony Plain, and from here I'll go down to the Kootenays after our motorhome apparently is fixed now. So that's life out on the road. We actually spent a couple of nights in tents, so we were in a musty tent that we hadn't aired out properly, but anyway, that's another story.
After many years of singing, many years of albums, great albums, by the way, what keeps you doing this?
I think it's all about the music. I have a great love for the music. And once in a while, some really good things happen to me. I wrote a song in 2008 called "I Apologize" when the federal government had made the apology to the First Nations. And I wrote this song, and it came to the attention of Justice Murray Sinclair and Chief Sean Atleo, and so I was invited to perform the song at the Pacific Coliseum and part of the Truth and Reconciliation. And I just, what a very touching moment. And I had a visit from Justice Murray Sinclair on our home on Gabriel Island. He came over with Sheila Rogers from CBC, and he said, "Have you got your CD yet?" Well, no. What CD? Well, the song "I Apologize" that I wrote, it made the final CD as the official CD for the Truth and Reconciliation. So it's a number 15 on the song, on the CD, the last song on the album. And I can't believe that happened to me. It's just that's one of the things, one of the benefits, I guess, of being in this business and having an imagination and writing songs.
Gary, it seems to me that you hold Aboriginal people close to your heart.
I was, raised in a farm, and the reserve, the Yellow Quill Reserve, was not that far away. And I just, my experience was, I remember then when they would come into town, and very, very, very poor. All the ladies were wearing probably every dress they owned just to keep warm. They came into town with wagons, and they'd sit around pot-bellied stove in the general store and feed their babies, and a lot of the men still had long braids, and it was I never realized at the time, I guess, that how impoverished they were, and so I don't know. I just I have this feeling that I was part of that generation that maybe could have done a little more. When I wrote the song, people ask me why I wrote the song. I don't know. I really don't know. It was just something that I do, and it just touched a lot of people, including myself. So I learned a lot from that, and I learned a lot from meeting some of the natives over the years that are familiar with that song.
A couple of years ago, you performed a song actually as well with Alberta's own Mr. Brett Kissel.
Yes, I did, and that song actually was called "Dance with This Old Cowboy," and it was a fairly successful song. I think it was the number one song in the parts of Alberta, beating out like George Strait and all those people. So I was quite proud of that, and thanks to young Brett Kissel, he was only 15 at the time we recorded that song together. And of course, I wrote the song many years ago about a movie that I was involved with. But anyway, it was a young Brett. We've had so many good moments with that song.
The legendary Mr. Gary Fjellgaard performs this weekend at the Cowboy Music and Poetry Festival at the Heritage Park in Stony Plain. Gary, thanks a lot for doing this, and have fun this weekend.
I will, and I really appreciate the call, Jeremy, and have fun.